This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. A lot of people, a lot of experts, a lot of people who are not in my position as a commentator, like legal analysts, are saying that this case in Georgia against Donald Trump, this Fani Willis brought case that now a special grand jury has looked at, now a regular, fully impaneled grand jury with indictment power, they're looking at the evidence, that they're saying this might be the nail in Donald Trump's metaphorical coffin. That this is it. This is the most dangerous, damaging, the greatest possibility of seeing him face legal consequences, conviction, jail, that it's going to come out of this. And maybe I'm not educated enough. Maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough. Maybe I'm too ignorant of all the details to comment on that. I don't think that's the case, but maybe. It doesn't seem that this is the most dangerous. It seems to me that it's the election interference case federally with Jack Smith. But neither here nor there. Reasonable people can disagree. Fani Willis, is saying now that they're ready to go. Their evidence is compiled. They are ready to go. And it seems like maybe what we're waiting on is to buttress the security of the courthouse and the infrastructure surrounding the courthouse. And that's what we're waiting on. Because they've started hardening the target, as it were. Here's the headline from CNN. Fulton County DA says work is done in Trump's probe. And, quote, we are ready to go. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis reaffirmed in a local news interview that she will announce charging decisions by September 1 in her investigation into efforts by Donald Trump and his allies to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election result, while applauding the ramped-up security measures around the local courthouse. Quote, the work is accomplished, Willis told CNN affiliate WXIA at a back-to-school event over the weekend. Quote, we've been working for 2.5 years. We're ready to go, she said. Willis had previously signaled in letters to local officials and those providing security that she would make any charging announcements between July 31st, which is today, and the end of August, it says here. She laid out a variety of security provisions her team plans to take beginning Monday. Willis's latest commitment to that time frame comes after a judge scheduled an August 10th hearing on the Trump team's efforts to disqualify Willis, a Democrat, from the case, toss much of the evidence she has collected, and remove another judge in Fulton County from presiding over the case. You see, they want the fix to be in. They want every single potential threat to be removed, including the prosecutor herself. Right, because everybody, unless you're a toothless, kill-em-all MAGA person presiding as judge, you're not going to be fair to Donald Trump. You have to be a political contributor. You must be a bona fide endorsing Donald Trump individual for him to accept you as someone who can be impartial and do your job. In the local news interview, Willis also praised the Fulton County Sheriff after barricades recently went up around the county courthouse in anticipation of what the sheriff's office referred to as a high-profile legal proceeding. I think that the sheriff is doing something smart in making sure that the courthouse stays safe, Willis said. I'm not willing to put any of the employees or the constituents that come to the courthouse in harm's way. Willis said, and this should be the lead, this should be the headline. Willis said that people may not be happy with her upcoming announcements, and sometimes when people are unhappy, they act in a way that could create harm. She's doing her job well, and I predict that there will be, at the very least, a credible threat of violence against the proceedings in Georgia. Maybe even not from Georgians, maybe from people outside of the state who travel to sow chaos and put the proceedings in jeopardy, because these people witnessed the insurrection and they think that's a viable tactic to delay or stop the proceedings, because it did delay the January 6th insurrection, the attempt to overthrow the United States government, was an attempt to stop the certification of the election, to throw back the certification to the states where these fake electors could then take over and throw a wrench into everything. So in MAGA world, they do believe through violence, you can achieve a political goal. And again, I did this last week, kind of as a goof in the middle of the video. Remind me what it is when you use violence or the threat of violence to achieve a political goal. It's terrorism. And it's being advocated for by Donald Trump and Donald Trump supporters. Because, not all, certainly not all, but there is a faction, some polling suggests up to 20 million or 18 million, they think domestic terrorism is a solution. If you doubt me on this, I'll put the thumb up here. I did a video last week, about this. And Donald Trump knows as well as anyone that his followers will do what he says. Remember, I could shoot somebody in Fifth Avenue and not lose a single voter. He knows. He knew then. He knew then before any of us really knew the full impact of the cult that he was building. So, good for Fani Willis to do your job in the face of the morass of threats, of the cesspool that is Trump supporters. It's admirable. It's admirable because the prosecutor doesn't sign up to face the threat of violence. That's what cops do. That's what military people do. That's what, maybe not violence, but certainly the threat of death with firefighters. Like the first responder, that's first responder stuff. That's not district attorney stuff. So good for you. Stay the course. We appreciate you, Fani Willis. What do you think? You can leave a comment below. By we, I mean, I guess I could leave a comment below too. That's how YouTube works. I'd love to see your comment below. You can also call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I'd love to hear and see and read from you. If I do something that you appreciate, if I bring you value, please consider supporting my work. You can click the join button below for $2 a month, become a channel member. Hit the super thanks button below, see what that does. And go over to patreon.com/I Doubt It podcast or buy some merch or whatever. Tell a friend. That's also support. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Blah, blah, blah. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'd love to see you on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Facebook. Love to see you there. And I need to come up with a new end spiel, right? Somebody should write that for me. Farming out the work. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.